Greetings, everyone. DFG here, guys. Gideon's Flight. You know, I was just thinking a moment ago before I decided to do this video of this quote, and this is a quote by Michael Corleone, Michael Corleone with The Godfather, and he makes this statement: you know, no matter how much I try to get out, they keep pulling me back in. And I thought it interesting because, you know, it's kind of how I feel, you know, in terms of bringing up this particular topic. And, you know, and this topic is centered around racism and bigotry. And, you know, as much as, you know, people like myself get accused of, you know, not race baiting. I don't get accused of race baiting, but maybe race discussion, that, you know, that more or less, you know, why you keep bringing it up. And my feelings about it is that I bring it up because I understand that, you know, when you hide it, all you do is not only allow it to germinate, but in a strange kind of way, you condone it. And so if you're going to deal with a problem, and we all know that, many of us deal with problems every single day, and problems don't go away because we avoid those problems. You know, life challenges don't go away because you decide not to deal with them. What they do is they just hibernate, and they come back, you know, at another time, and usually a hell of a lot more intensified than they would have been if you had just dealt with it, you know, in the very first place. Okay, so that stated, there are two things I want to bring up. First, Hoover, Alabama. I used to live in Hoover, Alabama some years back, so I know that area. That's right outside of Birmingham. As a matter of fact, it's a suburb of Birmingham, Alabama. And here it is. In this instance, it's another situation where a young black, so-called black man, Aboriginal person of color, was killed by a police officer. Wrong guy, for the most part, leaving a crime scene because there's shooting going on, you know, without asking questions, without stopping to confront to see if this guy had something to do with the shooting. You know, this guy gets shot down and killed. And just like that, the police is jumping out saying they got the right guy, patting themselves on the back, great job, because there was a shooting in this particular mall, okay? And then only because there were witnesses who were there who said, you guys shot the wrong guy. This guy had nothing to do with the shooting. This guy was just simply fleeing the scene, that the police had to come back and recant. You know what I'm saying? That what they were saying. And then it was, well, you know, it was just an honest mistake, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. We've heard that. I mean, how many more times does a young person of color, any person of color, have to be, you know, slaughtered by race soldiers before we stop hearing this, you know, these excuses, these mistaken identities? You know, he shouldn't have ran. He should, whatever, I guess, not even rationale. What other cover story they want to tell to hide, at the end of the day, their attitude as far as, you know, seeing people of color, so-called black African-American people, as something less than human. Because that's what it comes down to. Because I guarantee if there was a young Caucasian male running, it's a good possibility before someone shot him down in a shopping center, they would have at least sought to see what was going on, and if anything else, found a way to apprehend him, as we've seen, you know, in many instances. You know, I'll just use Dale and Ruth, you know, where you just, stop him, you know, a state away, you know, apprehend him, take him to Burger King, get him something to eat, and then you take him on down to the station. But of course, you know, Dale and Ruth is a Caucasian young man who just so happened to have slaughtered 13, you know, Aboriginal American people in a church. So, you know, the truth is the truth. But again, Hoover, Alabama, 21-year-old is dead again because of, race soldiers who have infiltrated the police department, and have more or less being signed on as a license to kill. And interestingly enough, in addition to that, I saw some protests early today. And what's strange enough, with this whole Black Lives Matters, money scam, because that's what I'm gonna call it what it is, because if it was really about Black Lives Matter, we'd see all those Caucasian faces, all those, Caucasian females who, when it comes down to female issues, we see them protesting and marching through the streets of New York and DC and everywhere else. I didn't see any of those individuals in Hoover, Alabama, protesting, about this young black, man of color being slaughtered again. Okay? And again, I'm just simply saying, because there were people out there who were affiliated with Black Lives Matter. That's why I'm bringing it. I don't want you to think I'm just pulling that, out of the, thin air. But at the end of the day, Black Lives Matter has nothing to do with, justice for so-called copper color African-American black people. Okay? So again, here it goes again. And, there's crickets, on the television, popped off on the morning news real quick. We don't want to make a big issue about, this black man getting killed. That's not important. But let's talk about this white man who was killed in North Sentinel a few days ago. North Sentinel, if you don't know, it's an island right off of the country of India, who decided that he was going to take, and go into an area that's 100% off limits to anybody except for the natives on that island, who have been on that island something like 70,000 years plus, and for, only 100, maybe 50 to 100 people to estimate, people of color. I mean, these people are so black, they're this kind of black on that island. That kind of black on that island. And more or less, they've been isolated by their church from, what we call so-called civilization. And this young white man knew clearly not to go to that island, but he hired some people, some locals to take him there, because according to him, he was going to bring to them white Jesus. And he was going to bring them, before the throne of white Jesus, so that they could experience the power of white Jesus. And when he got to their island, and he was warned not to go, and these people have been known to be very aggressive defending their island, and he, in his own little letter, he acknowledged that he could probably get himself killed by going, but that didn't stop his arrogance. He went anyway. He went anyway in the name of, I can do whatever I want to do on this planet, because, obviously in his mind, he was called, by white Jesus to go save the savages. Like these people needed that, or were looking for that, or asking for that. And you guys know how I feel about white Jesus. White Jesus is an invention of white men. And it is what it is. I used to be a convert of white Jesus. I didn't know any better. I was ignorant. And, I figured, if somebody white said that's what, the creator looked like, who was I to challenge it? But when I was a child, I thought like a child. When I became a man, I put away my childish thoughts. And I know that, white Jesus is just like, I don't know, Superman, Bionic Man, any other invention that, comic book character who people believe in, Spider-Man, Wonder Woman, you name it, that's the same guy, different outfit, but the same guy. So anyway, but that's all over the news. All over the news. This discussion. Was this murder or not? You know what I'm saying? Et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So here is Caucasian guy goes to a place in the middle of nowhere where he has no right to go, and everybody's talking about that. That's a problem, because he gets killed by the people defending their island, and they have made this clear. You shouldn't go there. But then, right here in the United States of America, formerly Turtle Island, the child is probably a child of the Aboriginal people, original people from this continent, on this planet, on this continent, I'm sorry. He's dead today. And again, crickets, you know, just a passing thought. And you wonder why? Every time I try to get myself out, I keep getting pulled back in. It's because I refuse to be quiet about it. I refuse to be silent about it. You know, and people of color in this country, you know, this is what I'm going to say to you. When it becomes apparent to you that non-people of color gives a damn about what happens to you, then protect yourself, defend yourself, and do whatever is necessary, by any means necessary, to not let yourself be harmed by them. Because many of them are possessed with demons. Demons, yes, demon spirits are possessing these people. Many of them. And they're obsessed with murder. They're obsessed with greed. They're obsessed with pilferage. They're obsessed with lust. Anything that's wicked and evil, they are obsessed with it. And more than any of that, they're obsessed with destroying and killing you and your children. Now, I'm going to qualify this statement and say not everybody that's of that persuasion. But there are many of them, and they're all around you. And there are many others who may not have that bitterness in their heart towards you as a man or woman of color, but they are quiet. They have really no issue with you being assaulted, no issue with you being incarcerated, no issue with you being disrespected, and no issue with you being slaughtered, murdered. Crickets. You and I both know it. When you go to work tomorrow, let's see how many people on your job, especially if you work in an environment where there's a lot of Caucasians. Let's see how many people bring it up. I already know how many people are going to bring it up. All right? If I'm wrong, leave in my comment section. Hey, somebody brought it up. All right? They're not. Because you know why they're not going to bring it up? Because they don't want to discuss it. They want to keep it in the dark. They want to keep it quiet so that nobody looks at them suspiciously. And nobody has to do anything on their side to address it or speak out vehemently against it. So, I shall. And maybe you'll share this video, then you'll be saying something about it too. Thank you for listening. More to come. Gideon's Flight. Please share the video. Subscribe to the channel. And, you know, keep your eyes open. All right? And white Jesus is not your friend. And the people of North Sentinel, they were smart enough to know that. Peace.